You're listening to Encyclopedia Podcastica, a podcast from the Silicon Valley Skeptics.
Hello and welcome to Encyclopedia Podcastica. I'm Hunter Perrin.
And I'm Matt Courtney.
Encyclopedia Podcastica is recorded in front of a live studio audience. That is our wonderful studio audience today. So Matt.
Yes, Hunter.
I've been glorping around the galaxy recently.
I don't speak.
You don't speak alienese?
No, I don't know that one. I only know Klaatu Brada Niktu.
I don't know what that is.
But that's not aliens. Have you ever seen the original The Day the Earth Stood Still?
Nope.
That's what you say to the robot to get him to stop.
That wouldn't be alien then.
I know, that's what
Why'd you bring that up?
It wasn't alien.
It's a show about aliens.
Fair enough.
In case you haven't figured out, we're going to talk about aliens this week.
All about aliens.
Show. Yeah. So let's talk about the history of human involvement with aliens.
Okay. Sure.
You know, besides
are we ignoring
the erotic movie type? What's that one movie where some dude does it with an alien?
I don't know that one.
It was more than one.
Yeah, it was like
Oh, that's not right.
I can't remember it now.
See, I thought
Close
you were
Encounters of the Third Kind. That's what it was.
Oh, that's not right.
Doesn't that happen in that movie?
I don't think
I've never seen it.
I
don't know.
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest. Yeah. No, I thought you were going to go with how the aliens helped the Egyptians build the pyramids to
that
store.
Wasn't aliens. That was God. Everyone
store
knows
grain.
that.
That's true. Hallelujah.
Specifically, the Egyptian cat god, Anubis or whatever it is.
Us.
It was a point.
Us,
it was
yeah.
a point so it could scratch its back, right on the.
It just wanted a big cat tree.
Yeah.
Aliens did it in Egypt. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so the
So
history
anyways.
of aliens, I guess.
Because how is that possible? 5 or 6,000 years ago to do that?
I think it was 4,000.
We had already been building buildings for 4,000 years by that point. Why is everyone amazed that we built a pyramid?
It was just really big.
So?
It was the biggest
We
building.
had 4,000 years of practice.
Fair enough.
I'm pretty sure I could get pretty good enough at building things with 4,000 years of practice to build a pyramid.
You'd be dead by then.
Keep talking.
Good point.
Well, that's why I'm building the pyramid, so that I can lay my body in it when I die.
With all the grain. Because that's what they were used for.
And
right?
the pets and stuff. Didn't they lock servants and pets in there too?
I like how you could, for a second there, was comparing the servants to pets.
They're human pets.
Human pet, yeah.
Oh, God.
That's terrible.
At least we are too.
This is awful. We need to change the
aliens.
subject
Oh, okay.
really quick.
Wow.
Before someone sends
I
us a
think-
nasty email.
I think that's all getting cut, isn't it?
No, this is all in now.
Oh, okay. So as I was going to say, in 1938, Italy had enacted the Italian racial laws, which attacked the Italian Jewish population with restrictive laws that restricted their travel and stripped them of their assets. So it was quite a good turn of events for Enrico Fermi that he won the Nobel Prize in 1938. And with his prize money, he immigrated with his Jewish wife to the United States, where he actually continued his work on neutrons, which is what he actually won the Nobel Prize for. And I started working with this newly discovered fission thing that was going around. So this led to, on December 2nd, 1942, he actually created the first artificial self-sustaining nuclear chain reaction called the Chicago Pile 1. Right? Why did everybody laugh at pile?
I've seen a picture of that, and it was hilarious because it actually does just look like a
It's
big
just like a pile.
pile.
And it was just
Like someone just threw like a pile of like
Right.
bricks down.
And it's not like they
some-
had it like
some radioactive
surrounded.
material in there.
They think it had like some lead around it, but it wasn't like surrounded.
Yeah, and there were people
with
just
leads. They
standing
were
by
just-
it like,
yeah, they were
that's the
standing-
thing. That's the big
Yeah.
radioactive thing right there. Look
Right.
at that.
And I think like instead of how they have like control rods that are like electric now, they just had a guy like holding the control rods on like a pole over it. So then when it get tired, it just like went in and stopped the reaction or something. I don't know. I seem to remember that's what it looked like. And it was part of the Manhattan Project, which to me seems like a really good name for a Bond villain's plan, right? The Manhattan Project, which is kind of fitting because they did all of this experiment under a football stadium called Stag Field.
Those poor football players.
I don't think they were actually playing football at the time
Okay.
when they actually did the experiment, but that's where
Were they tossing
I don't
around
think anybody
uranium?
was. Okay.
I don't like playing at that football stadium. Their footballs glow. It's weird.
So this, of course, led to nuclear power plants and the atomic bomb, which ended World War II. But we, as awesome as that is, we're not as interested in Fermi's work with nuclear science. But later in life, he became interested in cosmic radiation. And while he was at lunch with some of his colleagues, he was kind of musing about, aliens and intelligent life on other planets. And this led to an epiphany that began to spread throughout the scientific world and all of the astronomers and all of that stuff. But before we get to what exactly he came up with or described, you have to go back a little bit. If we go back to the time of Copernicus, you see, before Copernicus, right, everybody thought that the Earth was the center of the universe.
It's not?
And it's not.
What is the center of the universe then?
Trump? Not. Well, you think so. But I'm not actually sure we know what is at the center of the universe.
The center of the universe is wherever you are, if you define the universe as the visible universe.
How can you prove
Okay.
Just look out and you can see the same distance in every direction, which means you must be the center of the visible universe.
Right. Well, Copernicus didn't actually prove the center of the universe, but we did prove was that the Earth and all the other planets revolved around the sun, which basically disproves that the Earth is the center of the universe, which is important. And once you have that model of the solar system, it now becomes, the idea that maybe there are other stars out there that are just like us, that have a planet that can sustain life somewhere out there. That becomes possible, and from there you begin to think about, well, maybe there's intelligent life on these other planets. And back then they probably didn't really think about evolution. That hadn't been really thought of yet. But nowadays we think, oh, well, maybe life actually evolved on those planets. Well, by the time, basically 400 years later, in the 1950s, people had been looking up at the stars, wondering about these questions. By that time, we had 300 years of telescopes, right, pointed up at the stars, not really finding a whole lot, and they even had radio telescopes by that time. They'd been around for a decade, and they found a bunch of really cool stuff, with radio telescopes, but there were still no signs of life. So it's this time that Fermi came up with what would eventually become known as Fermi's Paradox. And I don't have the entire list of his paradox, but basically what it says is, if there's so many stars in the sky, so many stars in the universe, and the sun is not unique. So we don't know for sure, but we don't think the sun is unique and our solar system is not unique. And if that's true, then where is everyone? Why don't we see aliens all over the place? Why aren't they trying to contact us all the time? And that is what became known as Fermis Paradox, as I said. Well, that's 1950. About a decade later, in 1960, there's another guy, an astronomer, named Frank Drake, not to be confused with Francis Drake. It was really hard for me to say Frank Drake, actually.
Frank Drake?
As opposed to Francis Drake, which is what I keep trying to say. But Frank Drake is an astronomer, not Francis Drake, who's the famous sea captain and privateer of Elizabethan era.
All right, so now say Drank Frake.
Drank Frake. I didn't
Now say it 5 times really fast.
No, I'm not. Anyways, Drake actually decided to do a serious search for signs of intelligent life out there. So he was actually going to take these radio telescopes, point them at the sky, and seriously try to find some signs, some contact with alien civilizations. Well, this project that he started was called OSMA. And I don't know where he got the name from. I don't know if it's actually an acronym for anything. I didn't find that written anywhere. But it was the first scientific attempt to listen for alien radio signals. And he did it using the 25-meter dish at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory in Green Bank, West Virginia. So that's more commonly known as the Green Bank Observatory. I can't talk today. Good thing I'm not on Observatory. It's a good thing I'm not on a podcast.
Now say that 10 times really fast.
No. Anyways, the project that Drake was working on, he set it up to scan for frequencies in the 21 centimeter wavelength, and we talked a little bit about that on microwaves, on wavelengths and stuff like that. But he was searching the approximately 21 centimeter wavelength for 6 hours a day from April to July of 1960. And he focused on 2 nearby stars, Tau Ceti and Epsilon Eridani. I practiced that. I was supposed to say it right the first time. Well, after all this time that he spent, the 6 hours a day from April to July, what did he come up with?
Aliens.
No, absolutely nothing.
Roswell?
Nope.
Oh.
No signals were found. So no aliens were found.
Not even an alien version of I Love Lucy called I Love Gleep Glorp.
So Gleep Glorp was Lucy? Then what was... I don't remember.
Oh,
Did
I
you
was
say
Gleep
Glorp to
Glorping
me?
around, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just hanging out with Lucy. That's what they call it, Gleep Glorping.
Oh, okay. I should have known.
Have you never seen I Love Gleep Glorp?
No, I haven't. Sorry.
It's on all the time. You just got to point your rabbit ears at the sky.
Anyways.
Go on.
Moving on. The following year, Drake called for a conference on the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. And at this conference, there were 12 attendees. Some of them were Nobel laureates, so like smart people. That's important.
Were they angry men?
No, they were not. They were not angry. This one of the 12 men at this conference was the
12 well-adjusted men.
The 12 well-adjusted men. One was actually a young Carl Sagan. It's important, so got some prestige here. The specific question that they were trying to ask is: was the search for extraterrestrial intelligence financially and scientifically justified? So, is it worth the cost, and are we likely to actually find something? Well, before the conference actually started, Drake realized if he's going to try and answer this question, he really needs to come up with some estimate of how many possible alien civilizations are out there. Because if you don't know, if the estimate's like super low and there's so many stars out there, you're never going to find them. But if the estimate's very large, then maybe it's worth it to actually go and look for them. Well, if you want to find the estimate of the number of alien civilizations out there, what you need to do is actually estimate things like the number of stars out there that could actually have a planet that could support life, and things like how likely is life to actually evolve on these planets. And if they evolve on the planet, do they evolve all the way up into actual intelligence instead of, just bacteria and stuff, which generally don't give off radio signals.
Not the lazy bacteria.
Yeah. So this estimate, or if he puts all these parameters together, Drake comes up with an equation which later became known as the Drake equation. And Drake actually introduced it to this conference that year. So this is the beginning of the Drake equation. And I don't have all the parameters written down, but as I said, it has to do with number of stars that likely have a planet around them in their system that can support life and all that stuff.
It's called an equation, but it is like the laziest equation you've ever seen.
It's not
it's
lazy.
Just like A times B times C times D times E, and all the variables are actually pretty important, but to calculate it, it's just
really easy. Just multiply it all out.
Yeah.
But they're all
just
probabilities.
Number of stars times number of planets, or number of stars that have planets, percentage of those stars that have planets, times percentage of planets that could harbor life, times percentage of planets that life evolved, times percentage of planets where life evolved into intelligent species, times percentage of planets where life evolved into intelligent species that could send out radio signals. And then at the end, there's like times how long do intelligent species live before they kill themselves off? And that's the depressing one.
Yes. Was that all the parameters? Did you actually have
I think there's more, but
yeah.
I
don't know. Well, at the conference, Drake actually plugged his numbers in for the number of civilizations. He came up with an estimate of about 10,000 civilizations.
In the galaxy, right?
Yes, in the galaxy. I think they limited it to the galaxy because if it's outside the galaxy, there's like, what's the point?
Yeah. It would be like hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years before we'd even get any signal from like our nearest
like Alpha
big
Centauri.
galaxy. Alpha Centauri is in the galaxy. It's very close. It's 4 light years away.
Star, not the galaxy.
But our nearest like big galaxy, Andromeda. There are other galaxies that are closer, but the nearest
started with an
big
A.
one is Andromeda, which is, I think, a few million light years away. So,
right.
By the time a signal got to us from there, unless they were just like pointing it directly at us, it would be indistinguishable from noise.
Right.
So yeah, limiting it to the galaxy is a smart
within the
idea.
galaxy. And Carl Sagan, who was a bit more of an optimist, he plugged in his own numbers and came up with about 1 million, which, quite a bit more.
That seems like an overestimate.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay, so I looked this up. Today's estimate based on our current knowledge of, stuff I just looked up on the internet, they come up with, of course, a range because some of the numbers that you plug in aren't really a known like specific probability or number or something.
Yeah, I think the highest limiting factor to me at least would be the killing themselves part, because I think intelligent species probably would end up killing themselves pretty quickly.
I don't know.
We almost did it.
And we're doing it again.
Yeah, we're currently in the process of doing it.
Okay, so based on the numbers that I found, it's actually the range that I found. The low end, they have 9.1 times 10 to the -11, which is a really, 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 it's basically a probability that other intelligence exists. So that's like not.
Wouldn't
at
you have
all.
to at least have one? Because
Well, no, we were already
We-
counting ours.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's saying
Okay.
another one. And then on the high end, it's 156 million, which is, kind of a big range
yeah.
of possibilities.
Wow.
So the answer to the question at this conference, should we actually do the work? Is it financially and scientifically sound? The conference attendees, much to no one's surprise, came up with the resounding yes, it is financially and scientifically sound. And this kicked off the search for extraterrestrial intelligence projects all over the U.S. and, of course, the world.
So what you're telling me is that a group of scientists got together
Yes.
and decided that buying new toys was justified.
Yes.
I don't
Exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Right. So, search for extraterrestrial intelligence, also known as SETI, which is important. So there's all these SETI projects.
The SETI Institute.
No.
you mean.
the
Oh, we're just
SETI.
talking about SETI
Just
now.
talking about SETI right
Okay.
now. Well,
SETI
I'll
is
get
the
to
name
that
of
in a
just
second.
overall.
Right. Just
the name
those
of the
those kind
endeavor.
of projects or searches is called SETI. So NASA had a SETI. And I say had because after Congress found out about it, they, of course, pulled all the funding. Because why are we
As they
wasting
do.
money searching for life outside the solar system when clearly we don't have any here?
Life or intelligent life?
Intelligent
yeah.
life, yeah.
Well, Congress's sample
totally
was
screw-
Congress.
Right,
So
right. And that's clearly a terrible sample. So after the money was blocked, the SETI Institute was founded. Now we're talking about the SETI Institute. It was founded with a $7.5 million private donation, basically. And since then, it's basically been funded by private donations. Now, there are certain projects that SETI is involved with, a lot having to do with, what is it, exobiology? I don't know. Basically finding bugs on
Astrobiology.
Astrobiology?
yeah.
Okay.
Which is a dumb word because astro means star, and there's almost certainly no life in a star.
Right. Anyways, SETI's been involved with a lot of projects that also, like that have funding from NASA, because NASA's actually interested in this. And somehow that didn't get cut by Congress. Their funding didn't get cut. I don't know. But it's mostly actually like private funding.
Shh, don't talk about it or else Congress is going to find out.
Do you really think any member of Congress is listening to our podcast?
Maybe. Maybe
Probably
in the
not.
future.
Maybe in the future. Hopefully in the future.
If I ever become a congressman, I'll be listening to our podcast.
Fair enough. And participating.
Vote for Hunter Barron.
So anyways, I just wanted to point out that the SETI Institute is actually right down the road in Mountain View, California. For our listeners online, we're in California,
In the Bay Area,
in the Bay Area.
where everything is expensive.
We're actually in San
Including
Jose
our science.
right now. Like, yeah.
San Jose.
I don't know where the border is. I don't remember where it is. So right down the road. So if you want to go see some alien finders, not aliens themselves, they're here. And that's all I got for the history. There's a lot more history, but don't really have time.
Awesome.
Right.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and then come back with the science of the search for aliens and extraterrestrial intelligence.
Encyclopedia Podcastica is a production of the Silicon Valley Skeptics, an organization dedicated to promoting science and critical thinking. You can find us on Twitter at SVSkeptics or Facebook at facebook.com/SVSkeptics. You can contact us at svskeptics@gmail.com. If you like the show, please rate us on iTunes.